for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
A violent weekend in Indianapolis. 16 people shot. Operation Legend fights these types of crimes. We look at how this federal initiative is working and what officers are doing to make our streets safer.
We're examining pedestrian safety in Lawrence after two brothers were hit while riding a bike. I'm Stephanie Wade with that story just ahead.
A possible new treatment for those suffering from the coronavirus. Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly says one of its drugs could help hospitalized COVID-19 patients. The new details coming in.
And chances are your lawn could use a little bit of wet weather. We have some drought in parts of central Indiana. We'll go on the search of some needed rainfall in your 7-day forecast.
Welcome in to the news at 6 here on WRTV. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. This year, Indianapolis is on track for its highest number of homicides in the city's history. After a violent weekend with 16 people shot, we are checking back in on an effort focused on reducing violent crimes. The initiative is called Operation Legend, and the goal to make Indianapolis a safer city for all of us. WRTV's Alyssa Donovan is working for you, finding out if Operation Legend is producing results.
Two of the people shot this weekend died from their injuries. One of those homicides happened here at North Colorado and East Washington Street. People who live in neighborhoods where gun violence is happening say they want to see action.
We shouldn't have to live like this in fear.
Fear is exactly what fueled Wendy Castillo to build this fence and put up security cameras around her family's home on East Bradbury Avenue. The mother of three not surprised to learn of a shooting just down the street early this morning.
It's nothing new. It's just something that's becoming a common thing now over here.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
The violence common in John Grisby's neighborhood too. His bus stop just across the street from where a shooting occurred on Saturday night near 10th and Ewing.
I heard about probably 6 to 10 gunshots go off.
The gun violence, something Operation Legend is working to prevent, along with drugs, robberies, and other crimes happening in the city.
What this is an intense effort with extra resources. We're going 24/7. This is the most intense effort that I've seen in my 26 years here.
Federal law enforcement agencies are working together with local and state police to fight crime. We're on day 29 of the 45-day operation.
What we wanted to do is to stop the bleeding.
Despite the weekend violence, Operation Legend has been making progress, confiscating drugs and drug money, arresting fugitives, and removing 87 guns from the streets of Indianapolis.
Who knows how high that number would have been if all those guns, I think 87, were still on the street.
But there's more work to be done. The goal is to get neighborhoods like Castillo's and Grisby's to a place where permanent change can happen.
When people are shooting at each other, it's tough to implement, certain programs to help with employment or mental illness or housing or education. If you get people to stop shooting at each other, then those things that address the root causes of the crime can begin to take root.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
In the 29 days of Operation Legend, officers have arrested 31 fugitives, confiscated more than 500 grams of heroin, and seized more than $1 million in drug money, along with the 87 guns taken off the street. The U.S. Attorney General for Southern Indiana says he truly feels they have helped make the public safer.
In less than an hour, the City County Council is set to hear about a potential change to IMPD's General Orders Committee. We'll show you what that could mean here. As it stands now, the committee is made up of 3 people with close ties to the police. 2 are appointed by the police chief, while the 3rd is named by the police officers union. The proposal from 2 council members would add 4 civilians to the board. Supporters say it will give more civilian oversight to police at a time of increased scrutiny. The council holds its regular meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. A beautiful Monday evening in central Indiana. The sun's out. Temperatures are comfortable right now. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is tracking what's next and what you need heading into tonight and into tomorrow morning as well. Kyle.
Yeah, Mark, some of us might need that jacket going into tomorrow morning. We are setting up for another cool start to the day. This afternoon, though, those temperatures rallying pretty nicely into the upper 70s and even some lower 80s out there with sunshine, although you see that thin veil of gray out there. We do have some of the smoke from the western wildfires with a northeast breeze there around 15 miles per hour. Temperature spread from 70 at Richmond to 82 right now in the Sullivan area, but with the quiet conditions and those clear skies, temperatures will start to drop off this evening. We're in the upper 60s by 10 o'clock. The sun sets just before 8 o'clock tonight. We'll go on the search for some temperatures in the 40s, at least for those lows, coming up in the 7-day planning forecast.
We'll see you soon, Kyle. Thank you. One boy killed, another hurt after they were hit while crossing a street on a bike in Lawrence this weekend. WRTV's Stephanie Wade is speaking with people about the need for increased pedestrian safety as police urge drivers to be more vigilant.
The two brothers were trying to cross Post Road here near the Jamestown apartments when a driver hit them, killing 11-year-old Isai Raimundo and his 15-year-old brother, still in the hospital tonight.
What a terrible tragedy for this family to have to endure.
To hear something like that about two young people, one tragically lost their lives, the other was in critical condition.
It was around 8:30 Saturday night when the two boys riding on the same bike together were crossing the street and were hit by a southbound driver. Lawrence PD says there were no obvious indications that the driver was impaired. The 11-year-old died at the scene.
It's a busy road, North Post Road, it's a major thoroughfare. And there are two apartment complexes here that are across from each other. And, there are sidewalks, there are street lights here.
Indianapolis City County Councilors Lakeisha Jackson and Keith Graves issued a statement sharing their condolences with the family and saying in part, quote, "Unfortunately, last night's accident was one of several in recent weeks involving cars and pedestrians or cyclists. We implore motorists in our districts and across the city to slow down and to be extra careful to look out for your neighbors on foot or bicycles."
This is just something that we have to do better with respects to looking out for one another and looking out for those that are crossing the street. They're kids. They're going to do what kids do. So at the end of the day, we just want to come together and rise above all this and really just continue to be that resilient community that I know we can be.
Howard Harding leads the Reset Center directly next to where the crash occurred. While there are streetlights in this exact area, Lawrence PD noting they were on and working properly that night. Some community members feel there could be more throughout the community to enhance pedestrian safety.
There needs to be more streetlights. There needs to be something that will allow greater visibility of people walking. I mean, this is a very busy street, and you see a lot of people crossing in the middle of the street. They don't wait till they get to the corner. Some of them cross right in the middle of the street, and I think if there were better streetlights, that would make a difference in them, the drivers being able to see the pedestrians.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And we will keep you updated on this case or if any charges are filed.
A Greenfield Police Department officer is credited with saving a woman's life after he pulled her out of a burning vehicle following a crash with a suspected drunk driver. And it was all caught on police body camera video. Greenfield Patrolman Blake Krul was on a routine patrol when he drove up on a wreck around 1:30 in the morning on September 9th. It was in the 4200 block of East US 40. Take a look at this.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Body
hey,
worn
ma'am,
down.
I'm pulling you out. Hey, watch this ankle. It's snapped in half. Come on, come on. Is there another one? No. Looks like it was just her. I didn't see anybody else.
Greenfield police say as Krul pulled up to the scene, he noticed one of the vehicles was flipped upside down and was on fire. He quickly ran up to the vehicle and found a woman trapped inside, suffering serious injuries. Footage from Krul's body-worn camera shows him pulling the injured woman to safety through a side window of the vehicle just before parts of the engine began exploding. Krul was then joined by other officers who helped carry the woman to safety. Medics rushed the 36-year-old woman to IU Methodist Hospital with serious injuries. The 46-year-old man who was driving the second vehicle was arrested at the scene and has been preliminarily charged with operating while intoxicated, causing injury. The crash remains under investigation. Today, we are getting another look at how COVID-19 is impacting Indiana. The State Department of Health confirmed 755 additional cases of the coronavirus. So far, 106,540 people in Indiana have been diagnosed with COVID-19. The Department of Health also reports 2 additional coronavirus deaths. That means a total of 3,215 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19 since the pandemic began in March. Data shows that 1,247,293 people in Indiana have been tested for the coronavirus. 8.5% of them have tested positive for the virus. That number has fallen quite a bit since Friday, when the positive case percentage was 8.7%. That is because over the weekend, the state onboarded multiple additional testing facilities, which reported thousands of new tests, most of which were negative for COVID-19. Data also shows that 41.6% of Indiana's ICU beds are available. COVID-19 patients are using about 10% of the ICU beds. Non-COVID-19 patients are using 48% of the beds. Nearly 81% of the state's ventilators are also available. New developments tonight. Eli Lilly says one of its drugs has the potential to be a treatment for hospitalized COVID-19 patients. As part of their adaptive COVID-19 treatment trial, Lilly has been studying the drug baricitinib, which commonly treats rheumatoid arthritis. Lilly says the drug may help hospitalized COVID-19 patients recover to the extent of being discharged from the hospital. The Indianapolis-based company plans to discuss a potential emergency use authorization for the drug with the FDA.
The hospitality industry has taken a hit throughout the pandemic, but leaders of a new hotel in CARMEL have been staying busy. In fact, they've already had to hire around a dozen additional employees. WRTV's Megan Santorum found out why that might be, and what they expect to see moving forward.
Events are scheduled and rooms are being booked. Leaders with this new hotel say they've had a strong first few weeks, even in the midst of a pandemic. Sitting right in the heart of downtown Carmel, Hotel Carmichael has seen a steady stream of guests in just the first few weeks of operation.
And quite honestly, it's been a little crazy.
Zachary Tharp is the director of sales here. He says weddings have been huge for them.
We actually had 5 weddings booked the first weekend we were open, and it's kind of continued.
He says the hotel company Marriott has social distancing guidelines they follow. They also abide by directives from the state. Hamilton County is not an area where local leaders created more restrictive guidelines like those in Marion County did just to the south. In addition to weddings, leaders here say the uniqueness of the hotel has drawn a lot of people looking for staycations.
The staycations are great as well. Corporate business is still, large groups are not happening, but we do have small groups, 10 to 20, that are coming in the hotel.
The hotel was part of a public-private partnership, and the city of Carmel helped support it with bonds. Carmel leaders say they're confident the city will get their investment back.
Personally, it's the bigger picture that's always driven me. I know how important this hotel is to the city. Pandemic or anything else that may happen short term is not going to derail the long-term effect of this hotel on our downtown.
Working for you, Megan Santorum, WRTV.
The hotel does have additional job openings. We will post a link to those in this story on our website at WRTV.com. You see them every holiday season, the Salvation Army's Red Kettles. Well, that money provides needed help to people who need it the most. But the pandemic is threatening this annual fundraising campaign. Tonight, what you can do to help.
A big blow for the Colts and their star running back. The prognosis is in for Marlon Mack's injury, and he's out for the season. How the team moves on ahead of their home opener on Sunday.
And it's feeling pretty good out there across central Indiana right now, but are you ready for some sweater weather? At least some cool mornings in the extended forecast when that early fall feel will arrive. You're watching WRTV News at 6.
Welcome back. It's an important part of the holiday shopping season. The sound of bells as you rush into department stores. The Salvation Army places those iconic red kettles alongside volunteers at locations all across communities to raise money to help people in need.
But now we're learning that campaign with a 130-year history is at stake due to changes brought on by the pandemic. What we can tell you about that is that we know because of COVID-19, the need for help is great here in central Indiana. But the Salvation Army tells WRTV that they are preparing for changes and disruptions in their fundraising efforts. They are expecting a 50% decrease in money raised in red kettles due to a decrease in foot traffic to stores. So the organization is preparing now to combat the drop in fundraising, coupled with an unprecedented need for help with their Operation Rescue Christmas.
One thing that started last year that was new for us is that even though you don't see a person standing ringing the bell, on our kettle signs, there is a way to donate just by a proximity reader to your phone, or you can scan the QR code and that will take you straight to a donation page. I do want to let you know that, and the public to know, that all donations that are given locally stay locally. So you're helping your community.
If you want to learn more about the Red Kettle campaign and get in touch with the Salvation Army Indiana Division, you can visit WRTV.com and click on this story. You can virtually donate or set up monthly gifts. They are also looking for volunteers. They tell us they're taking safety precautions for volunteers during this pandemic.
We got into some nice weather across the area this past weekend, and lucky for us, it's sticking around here as we head into the start of the work and school week. Lots of sunshine out there this afternoon, and temperatures running in the middle to even upper 70s right now. Bloomington at 79. That east breeze around 10 miles per hour. It will start to subside here as we get to sunset, which happens just a little bit before 8 o'clock. Tomorrow morning at the bus stop, a little cool there with those clear skies. Will be in the middle 50s, 76 as the kids are heading home with sunshine. And tomorrow we could see a few spots that are actually a little cooler, dipping into the 40s there around Richmond, 55 in Bloomington and Lafayette, as well as Indianapolis, right around 53 degrees tomorrow morning. But it comes with more sunshine as we go throughout the day on Tuesday, and those temperatures do start to warm up here a little bit as we go through the first half of the day. Middle 60s by 11 a.m. Lunchtime right around 70 degrees, and we'll keep those mostly sunny skies going into the afternoon. In fact, tomorrow the humidity even lower than it was today, and it was really not too much of a factor there. Your high temperatures about where they should be for the middle of September here. 76 degrees in Kokomo and Marion. You'll make it to 77 in Anderson. We'll find those temperatures a little closer to the 80-degree mark as we get near and south of I-70. Rockville, Brazil coming in at 80 degrees and 79 in Bedford, Seymour and Columbus for your Tuesday afternoon. But we mentioned it's been very dry. In fact, we're about halfway through the month and we've seen less than 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. That puts us about 1.5 inches below average here for the month. And it looks like that is a trend that's going to continue here as we look at the precipitation outlook right through the 28th of September, calling for below average rainfall here. We do have a small chance for some rain coming up late Wednesday into Thursday. Doesn't look like, though, the remnants of Sally will be helping us out too much, as that pretty much stays off to our south and east, just kind of increase the cloud cover here for the middle of the week. Let's check out the 7-day planning forecast now as we put it all together for you. And there's some more nice weather, just that 20% chance of a shower or storm on Thursday, and then the fall feel heading into next weekend. Lows will be in the middle 40s with afternoon highs only in the lower 70s.
You can point towards
Thank you, Kyle. Oh.
Well, you could point toward several factors in the Colts' loss yesterday, some untimely penalties and a couple of turnovers among them.
But the team could be feeling this loss, at least part of it, way beyond week one. Brad Brown has a look at how one injury is already a huge factor.
There's an old adage in the NFL about the 24-hour rule. You chew on a game for one day and then move on. The problem for the Colts is that 24 hours after a disappointing loss in Jacksonville, they're dealing with a more long-term loss. Running back Marlon Mack expected to be out for the season with an Achilles tendon injury. Mack went down in the second quarter on Sunday and did not return.
Marlon is, beloved in our locker room. He is just has such immense amount of respect and love for this guy. He's a true Colt, and he was just looking so good in training camp and even in his few snaps yesterday.
That will leave the Colts with a huge adjustment to make to an offense that seemed to be gelling well around its new quarterback.
It's really not about me at all. I would hope that over last 16, 17 years that you've earned some trust and respect from afar as far as how you're going to compete, how you're going to fight till the end. I mean, I don't think that will be doubted. And then collectively as a group, we just put our head down and go.
With no preseason games to see and not really much to see out of training camp, there really weren't that many surprises out of the Colts' first game Sunday at Jacksonville. Phillip Rivers played like the 38-year-old veteran quarterback we thought he was, 363 passing yards, but also a couple of untimely interceptions that cost the Colts ultimately 10 points on the afternoon. The defense made the plays when they needed to as well, but once again, the Colts' secondary proved to be a bit of a liability as Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars lit him up for 3 touchdowns. But in the end, it comes down to just the little things. A penalty here or there, bad field possession here or there. Nyheim Hines not going out of bounds at the end of the first half. Colts settled for a field goal instead of a touchdown. You can pick and poke your way all the way around it. Ultimately, it's a 27-20 loss, but that's not anything new either. The Colts start 0-1 for the 7th straight season and the 10th time in their last 11.
I'm frustrated because you know what type of team we are. You know what type of team we have. You know what type of players we have in this locker room. But like I said, it doesn't matter what you have on paper. You got to find a way to get the job done.
And you get in the crunch in the fourth quarter, no matter what has happened the previous 3 quarters, you got to be able to rise up and win games in the fourth quarter.
It's home sweet home for the Colts the next 2 games. The Vikings here this Sunday for the home opener. The Jets will be here on September 27th. The Colts don't actually face another division opponent until Week 10. It comes up on November 12th when they face the Titans. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Thanks, Brad. You can see an iconic movie while also helping to preserve an Indiana landmark. The Indiana Broadcasters Association is staging a screening of the movie Hoosiers at Tibbs Drive-In Theater. That's happening Thursday at 8:30 p.m. 100% of the entry admission will support Knightstown, Indiana's Hoosier Gym. COVID-19 has hit the gym hard, and it needs help to get through the pandemic. The screening of Hoosiers is $11 per person. We have a link where you can buy tickets. Just click on this story on WRTV.com. We'll be right back.
One day in the 80s in that 7-day forecast. That's Wednesday. Then it cools down heading into the weekend with very little rain.
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Join us again for the news at 7.